Hey, everybody. This is Real Spill Podcast. I'm your host, Roman. This is my co-host, Rahim.
What's up, y'all?
We're back at it again with another football edition. We're going to jump straight into it for them today. 90 minutes and 90 seconds, and then we'll give you all a brief explanation of what we're going to cover today.
Yeah.
You want to start us off today?
I'm ready.
Sounds good. Let's get right into it.
Let's go.
Ready, set, go.
All right, so this past week, the DFB Pokal, which is the German domestic cup, played its semifinal legs. Eintracht advanced 3-1, and then the game I want to talk about is Leipzig dominated Freiburg 5-1. Two clubs overachieving, but Leipzig are now into the DFB Pokal final for the third year in a row. They won it last year, and they made the final four out of the last 5 years. Extremely impressive for a club that I know they get criticized for like artificial investment and they have no history, but they're an extremely young, extremely new club. And yes, they do invest a lot of money, especially for a smaller team. They worked their way up from like the third and fourth tier. But they've lost or sold 384 million euros worth of players over the last 5 seasons since 18-19. They lost Naby Keita, Matheus Cunha, Timo Werner, Upamecano, Konate, Sabitzer, Nagelsmann for like 30 million apparently, Tyler Adams, Hwang Hee-chan, Nordi Mukiele, and Brian Broby. And that's not every player that they've lost. They've lost quite a few more. So shout out to Leipzig. I think what they're doing is extremely sustainable. They have so much squad turnover. We know Nkunku and Lima are going in the summer to make 4 or 5 Pokal finals, to probably win another one this year because they're in good form. I think that they deserve a shout out, and that's my 90 and 90.
Perfect. Yeah, and they've beat some big teams this year too.
Yeah,
in the last 2 years, they've beat some big teams.
For sure, and I hate to go a little over, but actually it's weird. They played Freiburg in the week, and they won 5-1. Right now they're playing Freiburg. I watched the first half before we started this, and it's only 0-0 at halftime, but they are dominating Freiburg again. So shout out Leipzig.
Shout out Leipzig.
All right.
Brilliant.
Time for yours.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
All right, so the game I'm covering is from a couple days ago, the Brighton versus Manchester United game. Most people who followed the game went into it knowing that it probably wasn't going to be a high-scoring affair based on what we've seen recently. They just played recently; it wasn't a high-scoring affair, and this was a game that I think really tested the Brighton players. It showed their resiliency. It showed that they can play with these big teams when they want to, especially when it comes to the grittiness, the grinded out type of games. McAllister, he proved to me that he is 100% a big game player. He was not phased. It looked like he wasn't really phased by the back and forth, the chattering, the late fouls a little bit. He got a couple non-calls. Proved that he's a big game player, got his goal in the penalty at the end to win it. He was chipping back and forth with Bruno Fernandes. Didn't look like that phased him at all. Same thing with Anthony. Anthony kind of had it out for him towards the end and, proved it didn't matter.
Fueled him.
What a performance by McAllister. He's one of the most, I think, underrated players in the Premier League this season. And, yeah, big game player. Shout out Brighton.
Yeah, for sure. I like that as well. That was an interesting game, and McAllister showed up once again, so that was big time. Before we get fully into what we're going to do today, we did want to shout out, we have our first top 5 league champion of the season, and that's Napoli. That's why I donned the jersey today. First time since 1990 with Maradona.
Congrats to Napoli.
Brought them a title, and now they have another Scudetto thanks to Kvara and Osimhen and the whole squad. I think I read yesterday they have 18 nationalities in their squad, and
that's
we know
amazing.
They play a lot of them. Their midfield alone feels like 4 or 5. So just shout out to them. Kind of came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so sure we're going to see them repeat next season. And they did tail off at the end of the season.
Yeah,
but we're not gonna look at the dark spots. They've been one of the most entertaining teams. I mean, Kvara and Osimhen alone, but their midfield, their backline, everyone deserves credit.
Everyone does.
Shout out Napoli. Also, a city that is right up there with, Buenos Aires and any city in the world as far as loving football and loving the game. I mean, they die for it. So
after the game,
shout out.
On the field,
crazy.
You Osimhen, it was like he was a saint. I mean, he is.
I mean,
he
at
is
this
a
point
saint.
now, he's absolutely a saint.
But
in that
I'm
city.
talking the fans who stormed, and I guess they were able to stop them from eventually all coming out.
Yeah.
But the scenes after the game were beautiful, very, very beautiful. It made me wish that Diego Maradona was able to see. You know,
would be incredible.
Argentina World Cup and Napoli title in the same span of
exactly.
months.
I do think there's something beautiful about, you know, when he passes, maybe this is him up above, you know, looking out for his teams. But yeah,
Definitely.
Just incredible. Shout out Napoli. Congrats. We'll have a few more title winners rolling in over the next few weeks, but they're the first to it. So shout out.
Hell yeah. Shout out Napoli. So today, we've got what a lot of you all have probably been waiting for. Some of you all we know have been waiting for it. You've left a couple comments and whatnot. Champions League semifinal. Ooh. It's that time of year. It is that time of year.
I got chills.
Champions League semifinal. There's nothing better, really.
And
maybe World Cup semifinal, but
yeah. And these semifinals, you know, I mean, every Champions League semifinal is a big deal, but we've had Atalanta, PSG, we've had Villarreal, Bayern, or maybe that was quarterfinals. Leipzig has made it. These semifinals, I'm serious. I got chills when you started talking. I was like, these are gonna be so good.
It's gonna be interesting. You know, we got the rematch. I think deep down everyone wanted. I know I did. I did. As soon as Haaland signed, I was like, I need to see it. I need to see it because that's a different tie last year if you throw Haaland in my opinion.
Yeah.
We can go straight into it. Who do you want to start with?
Let's do Madrid City. I think.
Let's start Inter Milan.
You want to?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to tell you, I this might come off as crazy. I've gone back and forth. I am more excited about the Milan derby than I am about Madrid City.
They haven't been back in some years either.
Oh my God. I was looking at it this morning. The last time either have advanced past the quarterfinals, Inter in 2009-2010, they won the Champions League, their only Champions League.
That was huge too.
Milan, 2006-2007 was the last time they made it past the quarterfinals, and they won it that year as well. That was their 7th Champions League.
Mourinho coached the Inter team?
The Inter team in 9-10, yeah. And then Milan would have been, that was off the back of the Istanbul, comeback. So I think that was Ancelotti.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, super teams, the 9-10
and
Inter team.
Who did he beat? Who did they beat?
In the final? I don't know, actually, to be honest. And maybe that's bad ball knowledge from us. But, well, I can say I don't remember.
I don't know either at all, but I just feel like Mourinho was the manager of the team they beat. Not. I want to say. Maybe not.
But
I don't know what
anyways, I mean, the restoration of not just Italian giants, I mean, giants of the footballing world. I mean, I said 7th, or they've won 7 Champions Leagues, Milan. In total with the European Cup, I think they've won 11. Inter maybe are at 3 or 4 with the European Cup and Champions League.
Inter is football greatness for sure.
Greatness. I mean, these are football, heritage clubs. These are
teams.
The most of the most. I mean, I know Madrid, Barca, United are more the modern, giants.
But when you look at pre-2015, pre-2014 time frame.
These are 2 of the best clubs. I mean, I'm serious as a romantic, and I describe myself as a lot of footballing romantic. I do not think it gets more romantic than these 2 clubs, especially Milan. I think when you think of
romantic, I can agree with that.
Maldini, I'm not saying bigger, but just romantic. But past the Italians, I mean, Seedorf and Kaká and Shevchenko. It's just incredible. I am so excited for this game. So excited from the theatrics of it all. It could be 2 boring 0-0 ties or games, and I would love it.
I think it will be not 0-0, but I think it'll be 2. I think it'll be 2 low-scoring ties that'll be the chance, which will make the chances very eventful for everybody watching.
Exactly. I think when you say low-scoring tie, I think that benefits Milan.
Definitely,
they are a low-scoring but extremely solid defensively team. And that stems from Mike Maignan. I mean,
best in the world right now, in my opinion.
Best in the world. It sucks because that's a very hot take that neither of us are going to disagree with because we both believe that. We've talked about that quite a bit. I know there's Alisson. I know there's Courtois. I think those 2 are the ones. And Ter Stegen. Those are the 3 to debate. But for me, as far as game-changing,
those 3 are in a tier of their own, too, I think.
Well, Maignan is there with them, no?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Those 4.
Yeah. But I think when I'm thinking of winning right now, Courtois was this way last season, and I think that's a big reason Madrid were able to see those titles out, or that title out. But as far as winning a game right now, I'm picking Mike Maignan in between the sticks. He's unbelievable. The saves against Spurs and the saves against Napoli. And then on international break, the save against Ireland, which I know France versus Ireland, but he is unbelievable.
He's a real life shot stopper.
Shot stopper, and he's modern.
And he can distribute. He can
yeah.
distribute, and he controls his defense.
I don't know if you saw. I know we were busy, both of us, this morning. He got an assist this morning. Now, okay, to be fair, if you saw the goal, Milan's beating Lazio. Teo dribbled it from basically his own box. So Maignan just gave it to him right there. But it goes in the stat sheet as a Maignan assist. So, but anyways, unbelievable. I mean,
I love goalie assists.
Reflexes, athleticism. He could define this game. When we talk about it, it could very well be will be low scoring. You look at the keepers. Handanovic is no pushover, but Mike Maignan is the best in the world.
The key to me for him is he doesn't fold under any type of pressure. He elevates with pressure. When more chances are coming, the game's coming to its end, it's tied, they're down, whatever it may be, he turns his game up like a Benzema,
he feels like a warrior. Did you see that video of them in the tunnel? I don't know if it was. I think it was the Spurs Champions League, and they're in the tunnel, and he's like, I think he says "vamos." I don't know why he was speaking Spanish, or maybe that's Italian as well. But he's like,
"Vamos Milan."
Yeah, and it was just like, I mean, it was a TikTok edit, so when they do all the video and stuff, it makes it seem cooler. But it was like, dang, this guy's
everybody like turned their heads forward and like locked in and walked forward. Yeah,
and it doesn't get talked about enough. He's getting talked about right now because, again, we keep saying it, best in the world, best in the world, best in the world. But he was at Lille, his first, not his first, but when he really became a good keeper, they win the title. They steal it from PSG. He gets a transfer to Milan, they win a title. They're
immediately
first in 10 years, immediately. He influences winning. And when Milan took a dip in the middle of the season where you could call them inconsistent off the back of their title, it was because he was injured.
Yeah.
And now he's France's number one. He's back, and they've looked incredible. I put it down in their last 5. They've conceded 4 goals. They had 4 draws, all 1-1, and then they won a game 2-0. I mean, you talk about 4 goals in just 5 games. They held this Napoli attack. They held Spurs with Kane and Son. Maignan is the real deal.
Real deal.
But let's talk about some other stuff. I mean, Inter. Yeah. How can Inter get at Milan?
I mean, Inter have won 2 of the 3 games they've played already domestically this year. I think that's notable. I mean, 2 are early, so form kind of plays more of a role than past results in Champions League. Inter, I mean, they've got a game-changing player in Lautaro Martinez.
Very much so.
But that ability I'm talking about, his ability to just have a play to change the game, it's not consistent. You know, he'll do that for a whole half. Every time he touches the ball, all of a sudden their build-up just turned into a chance created because he got the ball. But then you won't see him for 20, 30 minutes.
I think, and that might go for Inter's whole team. We talked about it, I think, in the last episode about their defense can lock up and then give up chances 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off. But Inter as a whole, but is it fair to say that they've hit more of a peak this season than Milan have? They've also maybe hit more of a low.
I think they have. I think they've scored more goals.
They do. They score a lot of goals. I put it down. 16 goals scored in their last 5 games. All right, that's
but in their last 2 or 3.
Well, they beat Hellas Veronis this week 6-0. So
that's inflated. You take that away,
but I mean, still, I think Juve 1-0. Okay, low scoring, but Lazio 3-1. They score goals. Lautaro, Lukaku. Okay. This is baffling. I don't understand
this. Then they've got Correa, too, on the bench.
Well, yeah, and Dzeko. Well, I don't understand this. So we talked about Lautaro, and sorry to keep referencing the stats, but they're impressive. 6 goals, 2 assists in his last 5 games. Lukaku.
That's very impressive.
Lukaku, 4 goals, 4 assists in his last 9, but he's only started 5 of those games. And I want to get into something
also impressive,
really peculiar. I've been watching them lately a lot because all the Serie A games are getting really tight between Lazio, Milan, Inter for top 4 race. They haven't started a game.
I didn't know that.
Together in the last 9. After the World Cup break, they each alternate. And what is the logic?
Because Dzeko starts a lot of games.
Yeah, and Correa starts a lot of games.
I think
they switch them.
It's 4 interchangeable profiles, really, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
Well,
but now you have Lukaku
and Dzeko kind of have a similar. They can both play back to the goal, and then provide that aerial threat. Lukaku, not as much as he used to, but they've both got that strong body.
I agree.
And
the
then
profile's clear.
You've got the Lautaro Correa.
Yeah,
can
fair.
keep the ball in tight spaces pretty well for a striking level player. I think they just like having 4 options.
Right, but I guess when Lukaku's in clear form, I mean, if you watch the Lazio game last Sunday, the Coppa Italia second leg against Juve, he's in form. I mean, the guy's playing. Yeah. I know
he can be really prolific.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know he's turned into a meme over the last year and a half, but the dude's in form. And then Lautaro,
which is weird because it's just because of what happened at Chelsea.
Yeah. And
he won the league
and
with
I
Inter.
think Chelsea's more to blame than Lukaku, but that's
when you look at that play style, he had Lautaro close to him in close quarters in the final third of his attack.
That's what I'm saying.
Chelsea didn't have any of that.
We know they can partner, so what is the logic? But it begs the question. We've gone 9 games back and forth, start, bench. When they line up against Milan on Tuesday or Wednesday, will they be both on the field?
Yeah.
Yes, right?
Have to.
I mean, you think?
Are those the 2 best players on the team?
On their team? No.
Okay, Barella.
I was going to say, I love Barella. So, no, for me, no.
Brozovic. They're probably the 2 most valuable, but even then, not really.
Brozovic is extremely good, but when you talk about Champions League games, I think Barella still puts his name up there. But when you think of guys who can define Champions League ties, when you get in these later rounds, it's more those moment players. Lautaro and Lukaku, clearly 2 of them. They might be the 2 most moment influential players in the entire tie. Maybe Maignan.
Yeah, but based on a moment for sure.
So, all right. So now let's look back at Milan. We talked about Maignan and their defense. We didn't give enough credit to Tomori and Kjaer, Calabria, and Teo, who contributes more going forward. Again, I don't know if you saw the goal this morning. Absurd. He takes it from his own box all the way up the side, comes inside, makes the finish look easy.
Bro, he's
crazy.
He's out of this world.
But huge news this morning. We were
right before we started recording,
trying to check Twitter to make sure we could get across the right message. Leao goes off in the 12th minute this morning.
Huge news.
That's prediction changing news.
Literally,
potentially.
I don't like my prediction anymore based on that news.
I'm very uncertain about what I wrote down.
I do want to say 12th minute. They know this is coming up. It could be precautionary type of.
It definitely could be.
Let's not even chance it. Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, Pioli did that and said, take your time.
He walked off. It's not like
Yeah, but let's say he's in the game. Talk to me about Milan and what they're gonna get at Inter. How?
I think they're going to. I think they're going to rely on their attackers. I think they're going to rely on big chances because.
And their left side, especially.
I don't think Inter wants to sit back. I don't.
No, they're the scoring team.
Yeah,
Milan is not.
Milan is going to play it slow. I think they're going to see what Inter gives them. Yeah. Which is obviously that's cliche. That's what football is. You're going to see what your defense gives you, but. I don't think they're going to come out.
No, it's like they talk about in basketball all the time, like who can control the tempo, a fast pace or slow pace. You're talking about Milan who wants to go slow. Yes, they have Leao, and that might trick people into thinking they're this quick team. That's not the case.
That's one player who can be quick.
Yeah, and if anything, he likes to slow it up and take that one-on-one. Kind of like
He likes to see all of his teammates when he's playing. Exactly. He doesn't like to just get the ball and go.
And then you look across, Giroud, of course, we don't need to tell you he's a good player, but that slow style. Brahim Diaz, he's hit form, but he's not a pacey get-at-you player. He's a creative, find the gaps kind of player.
One of those players I hate that I like, because of his ties to Madrid, but I love to watch him play,
he's
honestly.
Fantastic. I like him. When he's in form, it's taken him a little while, I would say.
He's a bit inconsistent.
Yeah, for sure. I do love this midfield battle. I've talked about Barella. Brozovic is an incredibly underrated player.
Tonali is as well.
Speaking. Tonali on the other side, and then one of my personal favorites as an Algerian, Ismail Benacer.
Yeah.
Fantastic. He had a goal this morning, simple finish. But they've moved him. The midfield change in Milan has been weird because Krunic, who gets hardly ever spoken about, is like a defensive mid now, and he's a solid player. He fills that role pretty well. But it allows Benacer to move a little forward, play off Giroud, play off Leao, play off Brahim Diaz. And then Tonali just kind of does it all. Similar to Brozovic. They run everywhere. They pass to everyone. they do their job extremely well. They're not just role players; they're like elevated role players. And then Barella is. He's a magician in a lot of ways, but he is just consistent in everything that he does.
They've got DeMarco and Dumfries on each side. Those are two workhorses. Those are two players that don't get talked about a whole lot, but they can give you a full 90 minutes playing at 100%.
Easily. So easily. They make it look simple.
Covering the whole entire wing.
And let me be clear. I mean,
that's a slept-on quality to have nowadays, I feel
for sure, especially for these kind of teams. These teams
the
aren't
five mid.
Yeah, they're not going to overwhelm you with their quality. They do have guys who have that quality, but that's not what they're going out. When we talk about the other tie, which we'll get to here in a sec, that is a battle of quality. This is a battle of quality, but it's tactics, it's heart, it's mentality, it's all these things. And
who's going to be able to withstand when the pressure's on?
And I do not love Denzel Dumfries that much in the sense of if you put him in a team like City, where he needs to build out of the back and he needs to be on the ball, I don't think he has that quality.
Not, no.
But that's not what Inter's asking him to do. Mm-hmm. And DeMarco the same. I think that's a great point to highlight, and I'm glad that you did. Those guys get after it. I mean, DeMarco scored a fantastic hard run and a good finish in the Coppa Italia.
I think if we go look back at the 3 games they've played against each other, those 2 players were the reasons that AC Milan didn't score a bunch of goals.
Exactly. And I think when you talk about a 3-back versus a 5-back, a team that sits versus a team that goes, when Inter are in form, it's a 3-back because those guys are pushing you down. Think of Dumfries, big, physical, can bomb forward. We know that. Milan's left side of Teo, who wants to get forward. Leao, who is maybe the most dangerous player on the field. If Dumfries is forward, dominant, and pinning them, it neutralizes Teo, and Leao has trouble because he has to come back.
And then Milan can easily get caught out like that. You know, you get to the halfway point in a game, 65th minute, that left wing, right winger, they're not getting back as quick as they were in the 20th minute of the game.
Especially,
and DeMarco and Dumfries are.
Exactly. Oh my, they're not gonna stop. And Leao is a guy who believes he's a game winner in this situation, and he's correct. That is his job, in my opinion, for a low-scoring Milan team, is to create that moment.
He's proved it.
Yeah. Like you said, as the game wears on and it's close, it's tied, they're losing, whatever, he's thinking, well, I can't exert myself going back. Well, Dumfries will. He might make a goofy mistake on the ball, but he's going to work every moment. And DeMarco the same.
With that huge head of his.
Yeah. So
DeMarco, he's just... I never really watched him play before this season, if I'm being honest. Like, I didn't spend much time. Name. Yeah. And it surprised me.
He can put on.
Brozovic and Barella were to him finding him on the wing.
They know what he's gonna do. He's earned that spot. He can play left center back. He can play left wing back, and he's earned it. I love that you highlight.
An attack. He's like a prime Jordi Alba almost. Like
a prime Jordi Alba. That's the claim we're getting from a Barca.
Not really. Not really.
But he's class.
Just in the way his play style, and I think that could cause Milan some issues.
Enough foreplay. Let's get right to it.
Straight into it.
What's the prediction?
I'm going to keep my predictions because I think in a tie like this, when you have a player like Maignan and a player like Leao, and then like you said, we haven't mentioned him much, but I noticed what you mentioned about Lautaro and Lukaku being those big moment, not big necessarily big game type of players, but big moment players. Right. You know, they'll give you
one moment, not 90 minutes.
And there's another one on the other side that we haven't mentioned having this quality. Olivier Giroud.
Oh my God.
His best quality is his ability to change moment. You know,
put on when you need him.
I think that can be if the football gods allow it, I think we could be in for some big moments. And then when you look at Leao, Giroud, you know, I'm seeing it already. Maignan, save, counterattack, Leao, Giroud, 1-0. I'm gonna call it first leg. AC Milan 1, Inter 0.
And then give us your second leg and your aggregate.
AC Milan in the second leg. I go AC Milan 2, Inter 2.
Okay, so you have Milan 3-2.
I got a 3-2 aggregate with a 1-goal game in the first leg.
Oh my God! And now, that's accurate, I think.
I really could see it both ways, though. I could see a 2-2 first leg and a 1-goal game in the second leg. But I'm going AC 3-2 aggregate. They win the first game. They draw the second game.
Okay, well, I'm going through it. I don't, if you guys were watching, while you were talking, you were bringing up so many good points, and I'm struggling. I think this game is harder to call than City Madrid.
Yeah.
I know those are the bigger names, but this game is harder to call. I mean, it is nail tight, and I want to
On
emphasize.
paper, especially.
I am dying to watch this. I'm so excited. This is Christmas in May.
I want to call off work.
I have on this paper, I have Milan 2-2 aggregate. Pens, Milan takes it home. And that's really, it comes down to Magnan. I have 2-1 first leg, 0-1, 1-0 the second leg. Do I want to stick with it? You know what? I'll stick with it. I trust Mike Magnan. Honestly, my prediction is so back and forth. I'm so fickle with this.
That's the semifinals for.
I think he is the best player out of 22 that'll take the field. Is Mike Magnan? He will change the game the most. Milan 2-2 on penalties.
Let's get it. I think we're right too.
All right, we've talked plenty about that, and I hope this episode doesn't run too long. But it just shows you how excited we are.
Maybe a little long, but it's all right. People
want
this. They want the predictions
because we're not going to give you any less for the blockbuster match of the season. Madrid City.
It's what we've all been waiting for.
This is it. This is it.
Once
this is
saw
Endgame, Infinity War.
Round of 16, we knew it was. We knew. There's a lot to discuss.
I thought Bayern had a chance.
There's a lot to discuss. I'll go straight into it. I've got some a few facts. I guess I want to hear your thought on. You might not know. Maybe you do know. Before today, and City is up 2-0 right now.
Yeah, they were when we started.
As of today, City goes into the semifinal first leg. So I guess if they keep this 2-0 lead, they will go into that game 21 matches unbeaten.
God, that's insane.
Their last 21 matches, they will have been unbeaten.
In the toughest league in the world and in Champions League and in the FA Cup.
Now, here's another factor that I think people aren't talking about enough.
Tell me.
Where was the second leg last year?
It was at the Bernabeu this time.
First legs at the Bernabeu this year.
I think that's huge, actually.
I think that's huge. People don't understand City loves their crowd.
Yeah,
the City team loves their crowd. No.
They play fantastic. They play fantastic both ways.
Especially in Champions League, they fill that stadium.
And they played well last season at the Etihad. They lost that match. I know they won 3-2, but that's where they lost the tie. Or was it 4-3? 3-2, 4-3? No, 3-2. 3-2. Is that Benzema, obviously we remember the Panenka against Ederson and the smile. You could see it in the Madrid players coming out of there. City were the clear better team. They dominated at home because they play so well at home. They lost the leg right there, right then. I know what happened in Madrid. I understand that's how they literally lost it. But to allow Madrid to walk out that only down one goal, they knew. I think everyone knew it on both sides. And this year, they don't get that opportunity.
I think it's fully flipped now.
I think
Madrid
it's completely flipped.
Madrid wants to leave that first leg with a 2-goal advantage. That would be their dream.
I think they might have to.
They have to. They quite literally have to, in my opinion. There's a couple more things kind of similar to the situation with Leao. This is not as recent, though. It didn't happen today. But as of their last game, Luka Modric, probably very doubtful. Well, he's doubtful. He's out for the Copa del Rey final.
And he's missing this week for sure. Whichever Tuesday, Wednesday, I forget which game's which.
There's a good chance he's out. That's their controller.
That is everything.
That's their controller. He controls what happens in that movie. Yeah, everyone knows it. We see it. We see it in every single tie. Every year.
I was gonna say, if you watch one Madrid game ever, you understand how good this guy is. So.
Holland has never played against Real Madrid in a competitive match.
I didn't know that until you.
I didn't know that either. I didn't know once in 2019, and he played before the team. Who did he play for?
Salzburg.
Yeah.
Oh,
in a friendly preseason.
Didn't know that. Always first.
There's another thing I want to talk about here. Madrid have conceded 8 goals in their last 3 games.
Yeah, and they lost to Sociedad this week. They've dropped to 3rd in La Liga. They're notoriously not good in La Liga, especially off the back of a title. They haven't won. It's something like they haven't won back-to-back in like 18 years or something. That maybe it's not exactly 18, but something absurd. I think people just assume that them and Barca dominate the league. But in reality, I think it's really just Barca that dominate the league.
Madrid,
Atleti have passed them.
But you've also got to think about it. There's other reasons. They're typically going pretty far in Champions League. They're typically going pretty far in Copa del Rey.
Oh, no.
But what's funny is the La Liga trophy, like the La Liga title, I think carries a little bit more weight than other leagues.
Oh, I thought you were about to say in the Champions League.
No, not at all. But like compared to a League One title or maybe even
not
a Bundesliga.
Not the Prem.
No,
I would say La
not even the
Liga
Prem.
probably is the second most valuable title.
And then before this year, because of Napoli specifically, even Serie A.
Yeah, I was going to say
Serie A
because
is
of
going to get
Juventus.
interesting.
I think Serie A now will be the second most coveted because it's so competitive.
They have more big clubs.
Yeah, with everybody coming back into the fray. But Madrid, you wouldn't trade Madrid's success over the last 10, last 20 ever in football history. They are the most successful club, in my opinion. I don't think anyone wouldn't trade for what they have.
Not at all.
But last year, it felt like Madrid were on a date with destiny. You know, Benzema, Vinicius, Courtois' saves, Modric's performances. They were those guys, and it felt like City, as good as they were hopeful to win that. And that's why I said, even with a great performance in the first leg, it felt like they had lost it.
And here's what I got to say about that. And people have to remember this. They dominated both.
They
both
did.
ties
They were the
last
better.
week.
They were the better team. If you could somehow magically cut out the goals,
If you didn't look at any goal and just looked at possession and then the
and just the
build up of
play and
chances,
everything,
just how the chance got created and we don't get to see the outcome of the shot.
they were the better team.
Much better.
Nobody should be denying that. But in the end of the day, Benzema was the best player in the world last season. Vinicius was unstoppable, and Courtois was hands down the best goalkeeper in the world.
I think
This year, it's not the same.
Rodri will be the key to this tie.
Tell me how.
If he can protect his back line and shield and recover for his midfielders at the level he has been the last 2 weeks, and I don't know, I can't help it but to pay attention to the midfielders more than any other player.
Of course, same.
I don't care when Grealish has the ball. I'm watching Rodri, partially because I think he's the only player who could ever. He's the closest player to being able to replace Sergio Busquets.
Yeah,
if that
that's
in
very
terms
fair.
of play style. So
Which is huge praise.
deep down,
Huge praise.
very very huge praise. You're talking about
The
top
best.
two DM ever.
One maybe, but
One in my eyes.
yeah.
So I kind of like deep down, I think he's gonna. He's Spanish. I think he's gonna end up playing for us one day. But he's one of my favorite players to watch on that team. And in the last few weeks, his recovery ability right now, on top of perfect positional play in their build-up, he could be the difference maker if he can keep. Because Madrid is great at disrupting. Their press is disruptive. They
Thrive in chaos.
They're not trying to take the ball from you in midfield and go to the goal. They're wanting to force you to a bad spot on the field and then take it.
Yeah.
Disrupt you when you think you're comfortable, and now we're gone.
And Rodri is the most anti-disruptible player.
He foresees that. He's a step ahead on the other team's press, watching their press. Like
Absolutely.
a Busquets level player. I think that could be huge. I think if he plays at a high level like he has been the last couple weeks,
last couple months.
Yeah, last
years.
couple months. But I think he's turned it up in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, as City build, and it goes to show when he starts to build, they start to build. Holland and KDB are going to be the reason they outscore teams. I don't know. Grealish, Mahrez, Gundogan, Bernardo are going to be the reason they're so creative. But Rodri is going to be the reason
they keep
games.
Possession. The sole reason they not keep it, but guarantee it stays with them.
And when you're looking at Madrid, no matter how bad the form, no matter how good City are, they scare you because of Benzema, because of Vinicius, because of Rodrigo. I think that's the best front three in the world. But because of the moments.
It's a big take.
Maybe that's a big take. But because of the moments they can produce. We just talked about it in the Inter-Milan tie. It's about moments at this point because City were the better team for 180 minutes last year, and they walked out of there with a loss.
I saw something that was like they were the better team for 178 minutes.
Yeah, true. That. Maybe not 180.
And because if you're not the best for 180 in this level of the Champions League, you will lose.
Right, and Benzema has proven it. Vinicius has proved it. And honestly, maybe not more than Benzema, but Rodrigo, maybe the moments player in the entire world. He's been doing it for 4 seasons now. He's Mr. Champions League.
Do you have any superstitions?
Do I have any superstitions, like with this game or me personally?
This tie specifically. Like any reasons that you think something might happen not based on real football logic?
Yeah. It's Madrid in the Champions League.
Yeah. But do you think that goes both ways?
I have written right here, in quotations, surely Madrid can't do it again. With a question mark. There is no logic that tells you they win this game.
Yeah.
They're in bad form. They're losing to bad teams, Girona, Sociedad, not bad teams, just not that good teams. And they are playing, hands down, without question, the best team in the best form in the entire world.
England's already calling them the underdog.
And why are we debating this? In a real debate, if this said Leipzig versus City and we put the exact same stats of Madrid on Leipzig, we would be saying, oh my God, this might be mercy ruled. Did they stop at 10? I mean, I'm kidding. I'm exaggerating for effect, but there's no logic. The logic that Madrid even has a chance is that they wear that stupid badge with the crown on the top.
Because of how many
exactly
numbers they have on the sleeve there.
14 or something like that. It is Madrid in the Champions League. This is the best in the world versus Madrid in the Champions League, basically.
Which is one of the best ever.
Easily. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why they have a chance. They have that juice. They just believe. They can come to your park with Camavinga at left back and Dani Ceballos in midfield.
And you
for
might
Modric.
not score a goal.
And you're going to struggle for what? For what? Nacho is going to be playing. Yeah, we haven't talked about that.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Alaba's out and Militao suspended. Rudiger, he's a good player. He was a little better a few years ago. He's a good player.
A little better at the start of this season.
Yeah, but he's calamitous. I mean, so is Militao, but he's like the most elite calamitous player I can think of. Nacho, loyal servant to the club. You saw me kind of shrug my shoulders. I don't know what to say. He's not special, and he's not a Holland stopper. I mean, no one is, but
no.
But that's what I'm saying is there's no logic on paper. Dani Ceballos has had a great season, underrated season, but we're talking about him replacing Luka Modric. Let's be for real.
Be for real, but it's because, I mean, Tchouaméni hasn't shown in that defensive the mid
Yeah, their
role
midfield will be
he-
Tchouaméni, Cruz, and Dani Ceballos.
It should be interesting.
Tchouaméni for France is undeniable. He was amazing at the World Cup. I don't know if that's the claim you're making, but for Madrid, he hasn't hit those heights.
No, I'm saying Ancelotti's quote about what they're going to do about Modric was interesting to me because he didn't your $80 million midfield signing should be 100% the starter when a starting midfielder goes down.
I think because of certainly. I think because of Militao being out, Nacho and Rudiger will be the center back pairing. One of them will be on their weaker side because they both prefer to play the left. And Camavinga will be left back. Yeah. I agree. If Militao is healthy, we might see Nacho at left back and Camavinga instead of Tchouaméni.
That's what I want to see. That's what I would want to see. I think that would. I
do think Camavinga is better than Tchouaméni in midfield, but they need him at left back.
They need him left back. He's their Swiss Army knife.
So tell me, I mean, I want to keep talking about this tie, but let's talk about predictions because, I have a feeling, we didn't talk about it, but I have a feeling I know where you're going with this.
It's tough. It's tough for me. I had to really sit and think about this last night. For the first leg, I'm going Manchester City 2, Real Madrid 1.
Okay, I'm with it.
It's at the Bernabeu. I think they're going to come in and shock them.
Who come in and
Man City's going to come in and shock them, I think. I think they're going to come
is
in
it a shock?
2-0 at half.
Yeah,
2-0 at half, and the
that.
game should end a draw. That's what I think. That's just how Madrid is. I think
that's how Madrid is.
I think 2-0 at half, or maybe 2-0 after 55 minutes, maybe something kind of early. They get a goal back, and then
that's
Madrid's waiting, or City's waiting for the whistle at that point.
Yeah, because again, it's Madrid in the Champions League. I have something relatively similar. Originally, I had it as 4-2 overall, but I changed it. I went 3-2 in the first leg to City.
First leg 3-2.
3-2. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It seems weird, but I just got rubbed the wrong way last year, and I mean at the Bernabeu, I think. There's no way Benzema, Rodrigo, and Vinny, who I said are my best three in the world, or front three in the world.
One of them doesn't score. There's no way.
I think there's no way. I mean, I don't think there's any way they come out of two games without a combined 2-goal contributions, so 2 goals and assists. But that's just me.
My prediction goes with that.
Yeah, but then in the away leg, or at the Etihad, I have 2-0 City. I have them winning the first leg 3-2, winning the second leg 2-0. I almost went 3-0. I mean, I do not think if I had to pick between 4-2 or 6-2, I would go with 6-2, which is crazy when you're talking about Madrid in the Champions League. But this City team is unbelievable. And again, I said it. If you scrape the names, the matchup is unfair. It's a mismatch. But you can't scrape the names.
You can't.
Like I just sat here and told you guys and told my good friend Roman, I wouldn't lie. I said 5-2, probably 6-2. It is the hardest 5-2 I've ever had to predict in my life. Why was I sitting here and I'm like 5-2. Like, ooh, that's going to be tight. It's because Madrid wear that badge and they play in the Champions League. I don't get it.
And they scored goals in big games.
I mean, yeah. And Benzema, who is, as most people know, one of my favorite players in the entire world, he's going to show up. Vinicius is right now putting himself in that top 3 to 4 player in the world category.
So you're saying 5-2 or 6-2 aggregate?
5-2 aggregate.
That's
a lot of goals.
That's a lot of goals, but it's not
Haaland and
unrealistic.
KDB.
Literally.
I just said they're the best front three in the world. I've said it a few times. Yeah, it goes without saying. KDB and Haaland are the best 1-2 punch in the world. And
most definitely.
And right now, would I take that 1-2 punch versus that front three? Honestly, maybe.
I got City 1, Real 1 in the second leg. People might not understand that.
What? You just sat here and talked about the Etihad, and it's so tough to go there. So explain yourself.
I know, and here's my reasoning for that. I think because it was 2-1, because it's a 1-goal difference, I think both teams go into the second leg very extremely cautious.
Okay.
Pep does not want to make it this far and lose again. He does not, and I'm talking
awful.
Up in the second leg. He doesn't want to be up in the second leg and not go to the final again. He does not want it. I don't foresee it. That's the reason he bought Haaland, or they signed Haaland. No, they bought him. Yeah. 70 million.
Signed him, bought him, same.
70 million.
You look disgusted.
It's insane. I think City 3, Real 2 on aggregate.
Really? That close? Mm-hmm. I mean, again, I don't know why I'm saying that close.
I'm fully skewed off last season.
No,
if you want my honest, I think if it's not semifinal and you gave them 2 games, that didn't mean anything.
Yeah, if you had them playing the Copa del Rey, I would have City winning 8-0.
8-0. 8-2.
Yeah.
8-2 aggregate on a semifinal and any other.
But they step on the field, they got the badge on their chest, I keep saying it, and they hear, the champions.
And I'm superstitious. The football gods have to give KDB 1. They have to. He's not ending his career without a Champions League.
Yeah, and Pep, I've said it a million times, and I'm going to keep saying it as long as we keep recording episodes. Pep is the greatest manager to me, not Sir Alex, Jose, no one. It's Pep for me. He doesn't need anything in my eyes, but in the eye of public opinion, I don't want to say he needs this, but he needs a Champions League at City. You know,
he has to have
that sends him. He's already on the moon.
I will be there no matter what.
Yeah, and so for me, it's gonna be huge. We talked about legacy. Whose legacy does this define more? To be honest, it would be like incredibly impressive, and everyone their jaw would drop and they put their hands on their head if Benzema and Modric and all these guys win another one. Cruz and Ancelotti.
It's skyrocket.
It would be incredible. But yeah, on the flip side, Haaland shows he is the point of difference. Like Messi in the World Cup, Peter Drury, he's the point of difference. He's always been. KDB
shows he's one of the best. Proves he's one of the best ever.
Rodri, I think, goes from
proves he's one of the best right now.
Yes, and he is. But
Grealish proves he was worth it.
Yes, I mean, you keep going down the list. It shows these guys. Ruben Diaz, he goes from a dominant blocking defender who does in England to one of the best center backs of the last 5-6 years. I'm just saying it turns everything up for City. When you go from 0 to 1, I'd say that's the biggest jump you can make.
Huge. Makes everything in the last 10 years worth it.
Yeah, and this Madrid team, I think a lot of people will be saying, okay, well, they already have 5, or a few of them have 2 or 3. And then, with Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Vinicius, Rodrigo, they're going to be saying, all right, they'll get another at some point.
Yeah.
And they City could get another. We're not saying this is make or break. At least I'm not.
No, I don't think Foden. I think Foden will win more than one Champions League in his career.
So tell me, and I think that takes us into maybe our final point of a video that, like we said, is going on a long time, but it deserves more than enough time. We're saying if they get one, they get one. It's like we're forgetting that this is the semifinals, and we talked about 2 other teams at the beginning of the video.
You're right, and I was just about to make a point like that. So let's just refresh them one more time before we.
Yeah.
Inter.
So I have
Inter and
Milan.
City.
I have Milan.
Oh yeah, Milan and
winning
City
2-2 on pens, playing City, who won 5-2 on aggregate.
And I've got AC Milan coming out on what did I say?
I think you had 3-2, didn't you?
3-2 aggregate on both. Wow. But Inter doesn't score. Inter doesn't score in one game. I don't think Inter scores in one game. That is suspicious.
No, that's fine.
So
we both have Milan
in my
City.
final, I've got Milan City. You've got Milan City.
Yeah.
I think we can't give them that much.
You don't think we can tell them?
They got to wait for the next
Ooh,
video.
it's a big secret who
We
we're
gotta
going to
wait
say.
for the next video.
You're right. I agree. I'm with you.
Because
should have talked about this beforehand.
Hey, I'm gonna go find some points to make. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
it's a Champions
find some
League
points
final.
to make.
You got to show up.
You never know.
But we're talking about so we shouldn't be saying.
And here's some
0-1
things like
Pep
I think there's some like if Madrid gets through and AC Milan gets through, something tells me Milan gets a Champions
Yeah,
League.
I thought we weren't giving them. You just
But
you
but
just
we
sat
will,
here
you're
and told me.
right. We will get into that on the next video. We've extended this. We're 45 minutes in. We need to give them another video where we.
But at the end of the day, Milan because of Maignan 2-2 penalties. City because of City 5-2 over Madrid.
I'm gonna go AC 3-2 because there hasn't been a lot of goals in any of the games they've played this year. And I think the better keeper, the better attacker, and the better big moment player. Damn. I think Milan has all three.
Damn.
I think they get through.
Beat down.
I think the superstition, honestly, I wouldn't want to bet against Madrid.
I wouldn't. I don't care who they're playing. If they're playing the Monstars, don't bet against them in the Champions League.
But
and they are playing the Monstars low key.
I think City is due.
Yeah,
So
me
at
too.
least for a finals.
I think they're due for a winner, but we'll see. But
We'll see.
and we'll update you. We're gonna watch these second legs excitedly.
Yeah, we're gonna
I
get to you
cannot
all
wait.
immediately after these.
But we're gonna let you know what we thought
legs.
and what we think going forward. I want to say maybe the last point, if that's all right.
Of course.
Who will not lose, who will guarantee a win, is football and football fans. And I know that's
100%.
cliche or whatever. This is the Milan derby. This is City Madrid. This is the best in the world versus the best in the Champions League. Tune in. I mean, you have to see
A
this.
neutral could love this.
You will love this. I'm excited. This is Christmas in May. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be amazing. That's it, though, everybody, for today. Let us know what you think. Drop your predictions in the comments below.
Let us know. A bunch. I want to see
If
10,
we made
15.
a point that you think is crazy, quote us.
Is
Tell
Maignan the
say
best
it,
in the
this
world?
is crazy. I want to hear what you all think. Who's the best keeper in the world for you?
Who's the best front three in the world? We want to know these things.
Who's the best player in the tie or in the semifinal between the four teams?
Does the Madrid City winner guarantee a Champions League title? We want to hear it. Tell us. You let us know.
Let us know. Hope you all enjoyed it. Real Spill Podcast, Footy Edition.
Been fun.
Like and subscribe if you enjoy.
Thank y'all.